Okay, hello everyone, let's get started. Welcome to the Research Infrastructure's Town Hall of March 2026. Insanely enough, that means it's about 5 years ago that I started in this role as program manager for Arise, and look how much our family has grown, because we're actually not just talking about Arise today, but we would love to venture into Arise, Identity, Biodiversity, Genomics Europe, and Biodiversity Meets Data. So all the programs that are interconnected between species recognition and biodiversity monitoring. Some will be represented in the product teams, others may just be in the starting phase. So let's find out where we are and where we would like to go. As mentioned, all of these programs basically are around one single topic. How can we make sense of our biological world? How can we recognize all the species that occur outside based on either DNA or image and sound recognition and everything in between? That also means that we need to build that reference database that many of our teams are working on, and which is the fundamental work necessary to also implement biodiversity monitoring. These are the teams. I think they're still well represented, right? Of course, another program will also join here, the Automated Biodiversity Monitoring Program, hopefully in the future. And we have two big streams.
Oh, can you hear us?
I think the rest can hear us. Yeah, we hear Name.
Okay.
So I'll continue. We have going from a sample in the field to a DNA-based identification, and we go from a sensor or digital media in the field towards an AI identification. And of course, this is a very simplified version of the reality, but we had to divide the cake in a way. Some announcements are in place. I think one of the biggest announcements is that Biodiversity Genomics Europe has been finalized. So hooray for that team. I think they did an amazing job. Of course, the Naturalis side of things was only a small piece of the pie, but a very important piece of the pie. So we were able, through BGE, to digitize a large part of the Naturalis collection. I mean, large as in very relevant species were genome skimmed. And also the genome skimming workflow, plus the bioinformatics interpretation is now set up at scale. And that means that we can now also use it for instance, Arise to continue the work of looking into the collection. We've also created a BOLD mirror. So BOLD is the Barcode of Life database. And we now have a European mirror, so we can safeguard our data also across the pond. And of course, we've been community building like never before. We've created the IBOL Europe community. So that's a huge community of all kinds of organizations across Europe that are working around DNA. So awesome. Arise is, of course, operational. We already celebrated that last time, but I think it's fair to say that we will also enter a new phase where there's now a vacancy also for the program management job. So this will be my goodbye to all of you. Greener pastures ahead. We will also enter the phase where we have a new program joining, as I mentioned, the Automated Biodiversity Monitoring, aka ABM, will be entering the scenes, and also there a new program manager will be starting soon-ish and will probably throttle ahead. Yeah, so more amazing stuff to happen. But let's look first of where we are. I will do a quick update for the monitoring demonstration sites team. They have been investigating all sorts of sensors for us in the field. This is a known image, and there's probably even more sensors that they have been testing in the meantime, which gave us a huge opportunity to look what sensors make sense, what type of data comes out, can we process that data, yes or no, or which sensors will never make it, or what gaps do we have. We've been working across the Netherlands with 4 main monitoring demo sites. They are still operational. And then we had a ton of other locations with various projects in all formats. So now they basically told me, Elaine, I'm super sorry, but we're so busy now getting ready for the field season that we are setting up cameras in the field right now. The student projects will be starting soon. So more to say in the next presentation. So let's move on to the digital species identification and hand over to Khadija, because that's another announcement. Jacob has also kind of given the keys to Khadija.
Yeah, now I'm the mayor of the digital species identification. Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, so I will give a short, short update. So I'm now involved because I'm the product owner of the team who is. Which is responsible for this platform. I don't know if everyone knows, but this is the platform where users can upload or make sure that their data is stored, generated by sensors, and they can analyze this data with the AI models that are available in our repository. And these results can be downloaded. Next slide. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah. So these are some current number. These show that the platform is actively used, and maybe the nicest one to highlight now is that to date we have analyzed 440 million media items, leading to the detection of 112 million potential occurrence of insects, birds, and mammals. So we don't only store the data; we really want to enrich the data. Next slide. Yeah. So as said by Elaine, Arise has been launched in production, and which has meant that the DSI team has been embedded in the Naturalis organizational structure, and we have merged the team together with a team of machine learning engineers, and we have moved more from a project approach to a more product approach. Yeah, this is will create a powerful synergy. So by integrating this, that we have these specialists who are developing the AI models. It's not only an experiment, but these models can be built in such a way that it's scalable and production ready for our platform. So yeah, so the core mission of the team, and it's now called the AI team. But we are still discussing on what the right name should be, is to to scale up the analysis of the biodiversity data, so it's matched quite good together. Next slide, please. So since the launch, we have focused not so much on releasing new features, but we have focused more on the stability of the platform. We invested a little bit on making the technical base more solid. And we will continue doing this. One of the things we have done is establishing a new failover backup servers to ensure high availability. So yeah, these technical hurdles we need to tackle so that we can clear the path to hopefully in the future produce more and new features. So it's also important to invest in that part. Next slide. But we have been working on a few stuff. Is one of the things is is integrating the Naturalis multi-source model in our repository. This is a model that is based on field observations. A lot of people know it via and use it via waarneming.nl or Ops Identify. This model is trained on 45 million images and is capable of identifying 46,000 taxa, and the coverage is in European species. Good to know. And this table, I will not go into that, but it shows a little bit the performance of the models. One of the many tests that have been done. It shows the performance on the 1,000 most common species in Europe. Of course, there are some taxa where the performance is lower because the data is not as equal divide. So we have a lot of data from birds, and maybe from fungi we have less data. Next slide. Now, so other things we are working on is importing the data generated by the team MDS. Currently, we are preparing to process the data of Amsterdamse waterleiding duinen. Hopefully once the data is in our platform, this data can be analyzed, and hopefully more species can be detected and identified. Also, we are expanding our hardware support. So soon the platform will offer support for 4G wildlife cameras, sound meter and bug sensors. And this will move us closer to a system where a researcher can plug in her or his device and get AI-driven insights. So that will be something we continuously will be working on. Then my last slide. So looking towards the next quarter, we have already some plans. We will add some new algorithms. These are mostly audio algorithms that are generated by the Mambo project. No pressure then. So for instance, for grasshoppers and bats, and I hope so then. Secondly, we also want to start building on a route to publish to GBIF. For those who don't know, GBIF, this stands for Global Biodiversity Information Facility. We want to make it easier for users to publish their findings to this international database, and so that it can contribute to the global science. Also, we want to select an annotation tool. In the past, we have experimented with a few tools, but we want to select one, and after that, we hopefully can implement that as a tool so that people, the users, can label their images, but also correct the AI. For instance, if the prediction is not correct and the expert knows it's not correct, they can correct those labels. Finally, we also are preparing for the Biodiversity Meets Data workshop in Barcelona at the end of May. This is a major stakeholder event where we will showcase our progress to European partners. So we not only focused on the Netherlands, but also within Europe. And we want to ensure that our platform stays in the forefront also for the international standards. If you want to have more information on the BMD, there is a link to the website if you are interested. Next.
Thank you, Kadisha. Fantastic. Yeah, so Biodiversity Meets Data Really depends on the Arise AI capabilities. It's all about having field managers of Natura 2000 fields management areas with the equipment to really investigate how is my area doing, which species occur, can I do and implement some policies to improve the situation. So super cool that we have that connection and we can facilitate that. Let's move on to the other circle, from sample to DNA identification. And we will start with Onno.
Yes, of course. Sampling. Everything starts with sampling, right? So next slide, you can already go. So far, we always just keep adding these numbers up. We have processed over 145,000 specimens in Arise, and this is a huge number, right? This is many specimens that were collected by experts from the field, but also many specimens, most part actually from projects that have been run by ourselves. But we're now also more and more opening up to research projects from other users, which needs a little bit of tweaking. This is what we are working on a lot. Next slide. Of course, it's most useful and easy when specimens come identified by experts, but there are also a lot of specimens in the collection tower in the existing collection. So this is what we call collection mining. So far, we have sampled over 1,700 specimens from all the kinds of different taxa, which will contribute a lot to the targets of Arise. Next slide. So where are we standing right now? So the figures have changed recently quite a bit because we focus more on the established Dutch species. So this is what the figures now will show, the established Dutch species, and then it shows that we're actually already getting quite far to the 90% goals, for instance. One thing that we need to do still is to remove almost 3,000 unicellular species that are still being counted here, but they need to be reduced, and then the figures will go up more and more. So actually we have quite impressive numbers, I would say. I'm very happy with these. Next. A lot of names here in Dutch. You don't need to scroll this in detail, but one thing is that we will do is that soon the new status report for biodiversity will be published by Naturalis, and we will add the status of all kinds of taxa, subtaxa that are dealt with in this report, and show what is actually the current status of the reference database. Here you see a lot of green numbers, so this is very, very good, and there's some red numbers, and these are very well explained because these are taxa that need a lot of research, and most cases cannot be sampled as easy as it sounds. So this is what we're doing. We're filling the Dutch reference library by the different ways we're doing that. Also by identifying the bulk specimen that we have in-house that are not identified to species level yet. But we are currently actively handing them out to experts to help us identifying them. We already have some new species for the Netherlands, and I'm sure there will be many, many more to come. And so this is also where we need the experts again to help us validate the generated barcodes. We're not only working for Arise, we're also working for identity. As I mentioned, there's a lot of hand-sorted specimens from bulk samples. But I'm happy that last week we installed a new biosorter. We're working on a biosorter pipeline in which we will couple all kinds of different sorting devices for high throughput imaging, species identification, sequencing, to actually help us select the specimens that are really of interest, and to discriminate them from the very common stuff that we don't need to sequence or to ask experts for. Last week, next slide, this device was installed. We're very proud of this. Now it's time for us to play around with it and to see what it can do, what are the limitations. This is what we'll do mostly this year, and also editing it to the other devices that are planned. Next slide. This is part of the also identity goals. Within identity, we're building a standardized measure by analyzing eDNA by metabarcoding. Metabarcoding samples, they will come from soil, 50,000, water, 20,000, and air samples. We're making DNA fingerprints within the identity to actually have a measure for biodiversity, high throughput, qualitative data, so not quantitative, but qualitative data. So this is the number of samples that are needed for identity. And if you go to the next slide, I give an update like last presentation. I mentioned that we are going to collect the public urban areas. We are almost done with that. All the green dots in the Netherlands, this is where we have been. It's amazing how well the sampling team has been traveling through the Netherlands. There's still some places left, but we are planning to finish this month. So then the public urban area will be done. Next slide. That means that for the rest of the year, we will sample natural areas, agricultural area, infrastructure, recreational area. This is all still needs to be done. We are not doing that all by ourselves. Another 30,000 samples are actually wanted for this year. 7,500 hopefully can be collected by the sampling team, but we really need a lot of help from organizations, the nature owners, managers, landowners, to help us sampling, and the expected number is there 22,500. It's a big thing that we're dealing with. So I think that's it for sampling.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Onno.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so for the DNA apps team, we are responsible for all the user-facing apps from the DNA part. So for instance, the target list, the ADA sampling tool, and the DNA dashboard. We have been busy with a lot of technical stuff, and one of the things that we implemented is the analytics tool for the ADA sampling tool. We already had something in place for the DNA dashboard, but not for the ADA sampling tool, and this gives us more insight not only on the amount of visitors per month, for instance, but also on what kind of devices they use and what kind of browsers, so that we know what we should support, what we should put focus on. Yeah, next slide. And one of the things that will happen this year is that apart from soil sampling, we are also going to collect water samples. So we want to prepare ADA for that, the sampling tool, so that all the metadata will be provided through ADA. And we have already a beautiful design now. But now the next step is to actually build it. And that's actually what we will focus on this year. So making sure in April there's an MVP, and then after that also making sure that data goes to the sampling team so they can use it, and the sequencing team. So that's what we are gonna do.
Cool. Nice and short.
Right. Sequencing. I can actually press the button myself. So just a brief update on the 3 streams we're running in the lab. So first of all, it's of course DNA barcoding, our bread and butter. Numbers always go up. You see a slight dip in the increase of the amount of samples we processed, which is almost 120,000 right now. But that's because we are also spending some of our attention and energy on the meta barcoding and the skimming, which I will come back to later. As Onno already mentioned, we're also looking into incorporating research projects outside of the standard ARISE samples, facilitating these end-to-end. So using the standardized protocols that we've developed for animals, plants, and fungi. And there is already some projects running or planned to run soon. And you can think of all sorts of different things. Creating reference sets for plant barcoding in fungi research, but also sequencing specimens that were retrieved from the ocean cleanup and even from the very deep sea. And so we're also going outside of the Netherlands now, but it's nice to offer these kind of things basically end to end. But to do this end to end, we need to fix the last pieces of the puzzle. One of which was the laboratory information management system, which is a bit of a mouthful, but we finally implemented the LIMS right now, and this will allow us to do more and more accurate sample tracking and process registration, so that we can actually automate all this sort of manual Excel sheet work and really have the end-to-end workflow digitized. For the meta barcoding, we're full swing on the production now for the soil samples. We're doing more and more samples with each batch that we're processing, up to 8 plates now instead of 4 that we started with. So that's 8 times 9,720 samples that will all be processed simultaneously. So for now, it's just a lot of soil samples. Water samples will follow later this year, and air samples hopefully next year. And then the last of the 3, the big 3, is the genome skimming. Well, Elaine already mentioned BGE is finished. So here's some numbers. So in Naturalis ourselves, we sampled over 3,000 specimens from about 1,600 species. But in total, we processed, of course, a lot of other specimens from other European facilities and musea, more than 22,000 in total, with a success percentage of around 80%. So for old museum material, that's quite nice. It's around the same kind of success rates we're getting with fresh material. So we can't say that stuff is too old to process anymore, unfortunately. On the publication side, well, last time I mentioned we were publishing all our older data to Bolt. That's actually been done now. So if you go to Bolt, you can actually find almost 30,000 records from Dutch specimens with barcodes. And later this year, we'll start adding the ARISE material as well. And then some publications for the protocols. I just this morning published the animal and plant DNA extraction protocols we developed in ARISE. The idea was to have these live before this very presentation. But if you use these QR codes now, you'll get a 404 page, because unfortunately an hour ago we got the message, oh, in 1 or 2 days you'll have your protocol live. So if you watch back this presentation on the YouTube video, you can actually use these QR codes. So the rest of 2020 is just production. 8,000 samples barcoding per quarter. Meta barcoding, we're going up to 10,000 samples. Genome skimming also about 1,000 samples. Some small tweaks and optimizations, but really much of the work we're doing now is production.
Okay, so time for bioinformatics. Little update for ours from our side. We have sequenced many additional data, which is 110,000 samples. There are almost 6,000 sequences waiting in the queue to be processed. Compared to the last December, it's increased 10% in the numbers. So we are still going strong with the data. What was very important for us to focus recently was to resolve the issue that we noticed with the ITS data. Happily, it's fully resolved, and we are taking measures to avoid any problems in the future. So that's what I'm happy about. We also worked a lot about documenting our pipelines and tools, which was also part of our internal Spin Zero at the organization. For the identity, we've managed to process the first 3 batches. And we are waiting for the next batches to come to be sequenced, so we can continue with the work on our sites. In the meantime, we have accomplished creating the data model, which you can see on the right side of the slide on the top. We also took measures for the quality control. So on the bottom of the slide, you can see that now there is additional reports for the reads number. So if there was not enough reads coming from the sequencing, then we can label those specific we can label whether the number of the reads was enough, or if it was considered failed and should be resequenced again and investigated. So now we are really focusing on the quality control. For genome skimming, BG is coming to an end. We are almost there. Still a few plates to be processed, but you can see some numbers on the slides. After the BG is finished, we are planning to provide genome skimming as a service. So it's available to all the researchers at Naturalis. Yeah, so that's one of the goals for the next quarter. We are gonna create the workflow model and document the genome skimming, and then we can actually start working on the implementation. And then going back to identity and meta barcoding, we are gonna finalize data delivery. So the way we can share the data to the BioCloud team and then to the users in the long picture. What's also important we want to implement is the orchestration of the meta barcoding analysis chain, because the current workflow consists of 3 different pipelines. So we want to make it smoother and well organized to make sure that that the data is not lost and it's sequenced and processed as soon as it's available. For the Arise side of the updates or the plan for the next quarter is to start implementing, developing our internal sequencing platform, which is, you can see on the bottom of the screen. It's a bit small, but if you zoom in, you can see a sneak peek of our internal dashboard. It's very important to monitor the data that is coming from the sequencing, and before we actually send it to the BioCloud, so we can ensure that only the data that is passing all the quality metrics is actually shared with the users.
Okay. Oh yeah, then I do it like this. At least I'm in fact. Yeah, so the BioCloud, it's the one system that stores and connects all of these different data streams coming from a sampling app or from the bioinformaticians, and it's a lot of data. And the BioCloud provides the service of storing that and of linking it and making sure that it's actually usable. So this is the image that we ended the last town hall with, and you see the dotted line that to Bolt. Yeah, so we already had a lot of data, but we hadn't published it yet, and that's what we're working on right now. Well, ideally, how you would do that is, hey, we have data on servers. It's a simplified image here. Well, just send it to the servers of Bolt. That would be ideal. Unfortunately, Bolt doesn't support that, so we need a human in the loop, and in our case, that human is Kevin. Okay, practically, what does it mean? It means that we want to make it as easy as possible from the BioCloud. So we provide the files that Kevin can just upload to Bolt, ideally without even having to look at it. So it's one file with all the metadata, and then we can create records, and then additionally he can add sequences to all of those records. We're starting with the first batch of 1,569 records. Those are all records that have been collected in the Netherlands. They were identified on a species level, so we know exactly which species it is. And also when we blasted the sequence on Bolt already, it was a match. It gave a match back. So we know, okay, this is probably pretty good. And also we know the phylum. And the phylum is mandatory field in Bolt. So we must know what the phylum is. And the way that we're doing it right now is we have one big list, but we are importing it in small batches because we're trying out the system. So we do a couple of records, getting back from Bolt, what works, what doesn't. So then we can change the interface a little bit. It's learning by that. And I think we're going pretty well with that. So hopefully next time we have better news. And this is the first batch. Later on, we can expand it a little bit more. Yeah, and then next is the eDNA metabarcoding pipelines. Kevin already mentioned it. Lotte for Ada, Dominica from the bioinformaticians. There's a lot of data already being generated, but so far it's all in their own system. So we're going to start on the pipelines, getting all of that data in the BioCloud so that we can actually combine it and then towards the end of the year present curated data sets. And we're starting with the metadata of the soil samples. That was it. It was nice and short as well.
Also nice and short, yes. All right. That is it. I hope we gave you a very nice overview of most of the programs that we are connected to. Of course, just to end off, Arise has done its job. It's available. The services are there. So if you're keen to test us out, if you haven't done so already, please just hit the Get Started button and create an account and explore the possibilities. Hope to see you soon. Stick around a little bit if you have any questions, but I'm asking to stop the recording so that we can give you an update in a couple of months.